I was so grateful that my parents finally last year managed to come to the US. They saw the turning peel and they loved it. They finally told me that, you are so successful. And I think it's something about food, you connect with people, including your parents. And all of a sudden, my dad called me every week.
Wanting to talk about the restaurant?
And the turning peel and giving me advice.
Oh.
Like, you should do this, you should do that, you should always do this. Like, it doesn't matter what are they. They are like love message, love letter to me. Like, I was like soaking in this, like, I have no regret, even if I have to close the turning peel. Like, I already have everything I wanted.
The following podcast is a Pie to Pie production.
Every slice tells a story.
This episode is brought to you by Karen Spring Mills. It's not your average flour. They stone mill everything, which means enhanced flavors, preserved nutrients, and embraces a more traditional, sustainable way of doing things, all qualities that I want in my dough and in my restaurant. They're here to help you bake your best. Better pizza, better future. This episode is brought to you by Maestro Sausage, the only sausage we use at Hot Tongue. They produce sausages specifically with pizzerias in mind, and you can tell. So if your sausage isn't hitting all the right notes, let Maestro lead the way. Flat iron pepper. When you pop these peppers, you are gonna know. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it. They are liberating pizzerias from low quality pepper flakes. Stop finishing your pizza with crap. Head to flatironpepper.com and join the pepper flake revolution. Slice is building tools now to support the independent pizzeria, and not just Slice users, but the independent pizzeria industry as a whole. Like us, they are telling the stories of the independent pizza shop owners and ultimately creating tools that help the small guy compete with the big chains. This business can be lonely, but with Slice, you can be in business for yourself, not by yourself.
We are a very non-traditional restaurant just because I'm a scaredy cat. We did a really extensive soft open for like at least 4 or 5 months. We only opened for lunch and it was only me and my husband.
Yeah.
And only lunch, Monday through Friday only. No Saturday, Sunday because we have kids.
And that worked though.
That was good because it helped me learn the dough, learn to adjust, learn to how to scale slowly.
Yeah.
And also help me navigate how to run a restaurant because I don't really have experience, in terms of everything.
Did you come from a tech world?
I did.
Yeah, you came from a tech world, and were you an initial investor into a restaurant that was here?
While you did your homework, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because walking into this place, there's not a lot of restaurants that are in like a Craftsman home like this.
Yeah.
Like this is it's like already you can tell this is a very special space.
Yes.
So you walk through there, and then you walk through your patio, there's another patio, and then we're sitting in like a greenhouse basically right now. I can smell the grape leaves. Like this is very special.
So that was like a long time ago. My husband and I, we were remodeling our home. We learned, how to do like, YouTube or this,
You were general contracting your house with YouTube?
I built my own home.
You built your own house?
So I'm from Hong Kong.
Okay.
Before I come to the US, I can only use screwdriver. I grew up in 100 square feet space. I never seen a saw before, electrical saw before. But we don't have money. So my husband and I, we really wanted a certain area of home, but we can't afford it. So waited 1 year, the realtor come to us and say, hey, this is the home you can afford. We went in, it's the crappiest house on the street and the kitchen is blue. You walk in, there's giant wall right in front of you. And I was like, we're not buying this house. And my husband said, yes, we're buying this house.
And this is in Portland?
That's in Portland.
Okay.
So the story, long story short, we spent 2.5 years learning, even saving. We don't have money to buy material. So we're learning. So we pretty much did all the electrical. We tear down everything but the exterior four wall. We have to redone all the electrical, all the plumbing because it's all rusted, galvanized and all that. We YouTube them, learn how to do it. We don't have the money to buy all the material. We have to save few hundred at a time so that we can afford to buy material. So we eat out a lot because of that. So, and then we don't have money to eat in restaurants, so we eat a food truck. So we pretty much eat at every food truck. That's where when we found Jessie, who is super talented chef. We love her food. And my husband and I say, if one day we have enough money, we should save enough money to invest in her.
Yeah.
Fast forward, we graduated from tech. We start making money and we save up a little. And we found this house, Craftsman house. It's perfect. No one want to buy it. Commercial zone, basement. They grow pot.
Nice.
And it
legally or illegally?
Illegal.
Nice.
And no one want to buy it because it smells so strong and everything. But then we already have all this knowledge of building a house because we modern house. And for me, it's like there's no brainer. Right. So we bought the house. We go to her and say, hey, you want to open? And then five of us, is 5 partners, spent 2.5 years remodeling the home to a commercial kitchen, which is incredibly hard.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
And so because of the City of Portland code, apparently it's very complicated in commercial versus residential.
Of course.
But still, like, it's a lot of fun. But we were really picky about how pretty things has to be. Lots of things that you see inside is combination of Jessie and me. Decor, we look for, I have to drive like miles and miles, collect all the antique plates, antique chairs, and handmade mosaic. I was 39 weeks pregnant on, you see the faded mosaic. There's lots of volunteers. I'm only one of them. Do this mosaic. And that time, this does not exist. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
This whole thing, it's just a back patio, but it's still like inside lots of decor. I put up all the wallpapers because we don't really have money. Also, like, we have some money, but we don't have a lot of money to do everything we want. But we opened right in pandemic. Of course, it's just...
That was not the plan, probably.
Not the right time, and a lot of things that doesn't go really well. The food is too complex, and so on and so forth. And it closed down 2 years ago, unfortunately. At that time, like, I have no idea. Like, I was in tech. I was getting a little bored. I was working in tech for 13 years. All the excitement is start dying down.
Yeah.
And things are repeating on its own. Like, I don't know if you're in the same industry over and over again for extended amount of time, and you start seeing the same patterns over and over again.
Yeah.
And so, at my previous job, I have to travel 8 times a year, and because the meeting is all over the world, so I have to leave my kids for like 9 days.
9 days at a time?
Yeah, for 8 times a year.
Okay.
And then I have meetings like 5 a.m, 1 midnight, and it's like...
Because of all the different time zones?
Because of working with people all different time zones. And my oldest son, when he was born, after I come back from meetings, he can't recognize me. And I was like...
Oh, that's sad.
Very hard. So I basically... want to change a career in a way that is more, I can spend more time with my kids, it's more regular job, But then I also don't have the gut to quit my job because my job give me
security,
insurance, like regular paycheck, really good paycheck, very stable, and I'm very good at my job, and it's just one of those things that you just don't want to just pull out from, and say I'm done, and so. And I don't know, lucky or unlucky, I got laid off. And I was like, yes. Because I don't have to make the decision. the company made it for me. It's just the decision that I just don't look for a job. So it's much easier for me. So we start, my family is very sweet. They were very supportive. So we were like, because we save up some money and it's a big company. They give you a big package when they
Big severance,
lay you off, So I have enough cushion for a while, So we start in farmer's market. We bought my oven, Alpha, second oven, 260 pounds. We move it to the farmer's market, set up the tent and do the whole thing, start selling pizza. We were like the first farmer's market, we did 30 pizza. And then we were like, see how it goes, And then in like 2 hours, we sold out. And then we were like, oh my God, the pizza doesn't look that great now when I look back, but people like the pizza, you know? So we make more dough each week, and then we start seeing like more and more people keep coming to the farmer's market. And that farmer's market is the very first Portland farmer's market. And it runs all year round. It's called People's Co-op. And then after we did the farmer's market for like 8 months, and at a time that, we were like, okay, maybe we should open a food truck. So I bought a vintage truck, built it out, put the windows in, put the oven in, put the sink in.
You did all that yourself too, probably.
Yeah. So we did all that. I still have the truck. And the truck is like super tiny. It's 8 feet.
Yeah, that's very small.
I didn't know that, but I thought that, I'm just making pizza. I only need an oven. I have no idea.
So you were doing all of this while this restaurant was still open when you were doing pizza.
Yeah.
And pizza had been something you were doing at home.
Yes.
During the pandemic, but when you got laid off, it kind of turned into this thing.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So then this is vacant, and I never thought that I would open a restaurant, like literally not crossed my mind. And we tried to rent it out, the space.
Yeah.
And then there's a barbecue place, really want to rent it, but they want to tear everything down and paint red. And I was like, no, I'm just too emotional at that time. I was not ready. We put in too much effort in it. And then there's a bar want to come in and just open a bar. And then again, I'm not ready because they were more like gothic, and then I was like, oh my God, it's just very hard on me. And so then one day my husband say, why you open a food truck? Why don't you just open here? And I was like, no, I can't. I have no idea how to run a restaurant. I have no idea how to open a restaurant. I don't know what to do. Like, it's just something that is like, is not even in my mind. And so he's like, why don't you just try it? And I was like, well, the space is vacant, it's available, and then we don't really have to have capital, rent a space, try it out,
Yeah.
All we need is an oven. So I was like, maybe why not? So we bought the oven and we tried to do a pop-up, and we sold out the pop-up ticket in 24 hours. And it was a pizza tasting menu. Mm-hmm. And so I was not expected that. And I was like, okay. But then I started getting very nervous because we have to make pizza really, high speed, And then after that, we were like, let's take it slow. Let's, learn everything, But when we first opened, we sell only 2 pizza, like the actual soft open. And then we were like...
How long were you open? I mean, that day...
We were open from 11:30 to 3 o'clock.
And you sold 2 pies.
We sell 2 pies.
Okay.
And I looked at my husband. I was like, "This is not sustainable. We need 30 pizza to break even. And so, and then we were like, okay, but it's just us. We have no labor. Mm-hmm. We don't lose money basically. So then we keep doing it, and then we start doubling customer every day. People tell other people, and then we start having like pretty decent crowd, at lunchtime. And we start meeting all the customer, meeting all the neighbors, and then people start telling us how much they love the pizza. And so we were like at a point where we were like, maybe we should hire our first employee.
How long did that take?
We opened in October, and then we hire our first front of house, basically just taking order, in February.
Okay, like 5 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of us in the pizza industry might only know Slice from the online ordering app, which is still around, but Slice is doing a lot more these days. They're building tools now to support the independent pizzeria, and not just Slice users, but the independent pizzeria industry as a whole. They're telling the stories of pizza shop owners, creating resources, and ultimately products that help the smaller guy compete with the bigger chains. Slice now has an integrated POS system that's specifically designed for pizzerias. They're doing stuff like SEO, marketing, and full website build-outs, along with custom box pricing that you are going to get probably way lower than what you're paying for right now. They have a ton of resources for every owner. Buying power is a huge thing, especially when you're talking about big chains. And what Slice allows you to do is negotiate with suppliers and vendors to get a lower rate. That's what the Slice network allows. There's 24/7 tech support for customer care, and an extension of your staff is what they call it. This business can be lonely, as you all know if you listen to this podcast, but it doesn't have to be. With resources provided by Slice, you can be in this business for yourself, but not by yourself.
I think we even open evening, try out 2 days evening or something like that. And then I will be only by myself, and I'll be taking order, go in to cook the pizza and run the food.
Yeah, that's
and then,
crazy.
Taking order again, and then I will be super happy, to sell 20 pizza. I was like, yeah. But anyway, so then we start having like difficulty like cooking, one person. I will wake up early in the morning making all the dough, and I'll boil all the dough for next day, and then I've been doing that like every day. I will do all the prep, and basically the employee just come in, really just taking the order, and the volume is start getting at a point where I'm getting really exhausted, and we are holding all the flour by ourselves. We have no delivery. So the car transporting 2 bags of flour to like 10 bags of flours, and the car starts sunking down and,
'Cause you don't have a delivery service for your flour?
Not at the beginning.
Okay, you were like picking it all up? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So because I have never worked in a restaurant before, so we didn't know.
So you're just learning all this on the fly.
We have to get delivery. We start having to call people, hey, where I can get delivery and all that. So, so moving fast forward, we start getting a lot of customer. We start opening real hours. So we hire people. I found my first pizziola, we open evening, and then I start opening weekend. And then now we have like, I think more than 12 employees, and right now we are at a point where, I think last night we did 350 pizza.
Holy shit.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
So we pride ourselves in efficiency.
Yeah.
That's where my engineering brain is. We learn how to, engineering, but also where I come from. We in Hong Kong, everything is very efficient. And also because we live in a very small space,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a 100 square foot space, and we have a family of 7. So
7 in 100 square feet?
yes. So
that's got to be an efficient space. For sure.
So everything is open and closed. You can think of a transformer. Open and closed, the same space you sleep, the same space you eat, the same space you do homework, and everything. So everything has to be very efficient, There's not much wall space for decoration because they're all cabinet, So I think, and also we grow up, we don't have a lot of money, so we don't even have enough food. You know, we have to fight over, you know, who can get food first, you know. And so I hate to waste food. You know, it's just not in my blood. Like, I can't dump food. Like, if I have to dump food in a trash can, it's hard, you know, emotionally, you know. And in a restaurant, it's difficult because
There's food waste, yeah.
you have food waste. But we are very proud that we hardly almost has no food waste, you know.
And you do stuff like, you like roll your old sourdough into bread, right? And
Yes.
then you give away the free pizza bread?
Yeah, so if we don't sold out that week, and then next week I'll use all our dough, you know, I'll make pizza bread. And because they are just sourdough bread, like
Yeah,
that's not
looks
much
great.
difference, you
Yeah.
know. And people love bread. Like, that's how my journey started too. You know, I start baking bread, give it to neighbors. Neighbors love it. And because of the connection with bread, somehow, you know, people just love bread. And so I just decided, you know, to just give away bread, and all the neighbors love it, you know, and whoever come in, they're always surprised that, oh my God, there's free bread, you know. And I think that is something that, you know, keeping the culture, keeping the connection, keeping the sourdough, you know, history. People always share sourdough,
Yeah.
you know, and then teaching neighbors how to make bread.
Yeah.
And then that's how the sourdough, you know, keep go on for like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
You know? So I respect that, and I really like that.
You say like efficiency is and like engineering is obviously a background. Can you give me an example of like your kitchen being efficient?
Yeah. So we don't do wood fire.
Okay,
And that is one of the very big decision before we open.
Yes.
I have done a lot of research, and because of the environment health, because of personal health, employee health, and also we do a lot of blind tasting. Are there any difference between like 90-second food cooking in a wood fire versus a electrical oven? Can you really tell, you know, the food tastes different from a wood fire than an electrical oven, you know? And I can't tell. It's not like a 14-hour slow cook meat that you soak in all the smoke, you know.
Yeah.
And also a wood fire, you have to be really attentive to it. You pretty much have to like rotate the pizza, you know, constantly, you know.
Yeah, you're touching it.
Exactly. So the way how we design the menu, how it being cooked and how it being finished, we design it really carefully in a way that all the food are prepped only very minimum preparation. So we always, when we select a pizza on the menu, we try to think, you know, how it's being prepped efficiently and how the food shine on its own ingredients instead of loss of processing, you know, and lost the food itself, you know, taste. So, and then from how the pizza being stretched, and pizza being cooked and pizza come out, we are doing 1 minute per pizza.
1 minute preparation, and then it goes in the oven. Cooks for how long? 90 seconds?
Yes.
So,
So
it's like,
90
it's like a minute 90 seconds for the whole thing, start to finish?
So if you think about it, yes. But if you stagger them, right? You
Yeah.
know, because the pizza being made continuously, once the pizza being
It started. That's
in the oven, you're making the next pizza.
Yes.
The next person is cooking the pizza and taking the pizza out.
Yeah.
Right? So in a running average, it's 1 minute per pizza
Okay.
coming out, you know.
Yeah.
But from start to finish for a single pizza, it will be like maybe 2 to 3 minutes.
And how many people do you have in the back of the kitchen? Is there three people? A
So-
stretcher, a topping, and then an oven person?
And then one for appetizer,
Okay.
doing salad. So total of 4 people in the back of the kitchen on a busy night.
Yeah.
So on lunch we staff less, you know, because we don't have, you know, so many orders. As in, you know, busy kitchen. And then another thing is, this one I'm really proud, is another engineering things. I didn't talk about this in a lot of interview. Kind of our secret, but I tell you.
Oh, tell me the secrets.
So sourdough is very hard. because sourdough has its own mood.
Yes.
You know, and even in the same environment, same like region, you
Yes.
know, if anybody work with sourdough, you will understand. You can make the same bread, you know, the same time of the day, it will turn out different. Even you're very excel on making sourdough bread, you know. It's just because the life culture has its own mood and it has its own, like, it's like a baby, you know. So we try very hard to making sure that as little possible, as little variation to the sourdough. It's like you feeding a baby. So making sure that, you know, if you want your baby not cranky, if you're a mom, you know that you need to feed them regularly.
Yes. How many times a day do you feed your starter?
2 times a day.
Okay.
And then you need to make sure that you cannot have your baby sleep late because not enough sleep.
Feeding schedule.
If you want to go out party, taking your baby out, and then they sleep late next day, they will be cranky.
Yeah, they're not
know?
going to be fun to hang out with.
So what we do is that I build these things called bao-bao home, and it is temperature control, and we'll manipulate temperature. Depends on how I use the sourdough, you know, and we do experiment on. Basically, I have this big map of table. And so how many hours versus temperature and how I'm going to feed it, it will turns out differently. So now if you have done sourdough before, you know you have to feed every 12 hours.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, for example, like, you know, we open Sunday, today's Monday, no one is here.
Yeah.
Right? You know, sometimes I'm not, well, I am here all the time, but sometimes, you know, when I'm out of town, I'm not here, you know. But then we only have employee come in on Tuesday, which is prep day. That is 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the past, what do we do? One of the employee has to take bao-bao home.
Yeah.
And then feed it at home. If he remember,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
then you have a risk of they don't remember.
Of
then
course.
you are
Or they just
completely
throw it
like,
out.
Uh-oh, you know. But now we don't have to do that anymore
Yeah.
because we have this magical bao-bao home that we manipulate the temperature. And even though you feed it 48 hours, and it will remain the same status, and you will still have the same happiness of bao-bao.
What is this, like a
when you make it.
hyperbolic chamber, or like where's the home? Where are you putting?
No, the home is just a tiny little refrigerator with a temperature control and with a little.
So you just
space
control.
heater.
You just with the space heater. Okay.
I can show you offline.
Offline, I would love to see what bao-bao's home looks like.
And in fact, not only bao-bao home, I made all prover DIY, you
Yeah.
know, and everything is tempered. Because our pizza is different. Our pizza is not a, like, how to say, not like a traditional pizza that you make the dough, you use commercial yeast, and then you put it, you can co-ferment whatever days you want, and then you boil it, and then you can use it for, like, let's say whole week, right? You know, our dough can't do that. Our dough, you know, you have to make it, we have a pre-fermentation, you have to boil the day before, you have to use it next day, you can't use it afterwards, you
So
know.
you're doing it's a 24-hour.
And then you have to make
ferment.
dough at a particular time. Commercial yeast, you can make it anytime. And then you just put it in the walk-in, and then you know, let's say you do 3 days fermentation, but it's like cold proof. You can still make it anytime, and you put it in, it's fine. And then you boil it, you know, and then you can use it.
What percentage of the mix is your?
Oh, 10%.
It's 10%.
Yes.
And you just use it. It's one day only.
Yes.
And do you let it? Does it go into a fridge?
It go into proofer.
It goes into the proofer. The
And
magic. Okay.
And then we have this like multi-stage process, and then we boil it. That's why I just told the other guy, we have another meeting. I spent like $25,000 on like machine so that we can eliminate a hand balling.
So what, you got a baller back there?
No, they all fail. It doesn't work on my dough.
You bought a baller for $25,000?
No, I bought 2 ballers, and both of them doesn't work. And I'm very, very.
Were they Somerset and a Ballmatic?
Is it okay to do?
Yeah.
Yes, it's it? And and it's so expensive. The
Yeah,
baller.
they're like
And
$9,000.
yes, then I bought a new and it just doesn't work. And then they tell me all kind of things. And now from some backstory, realizing that they also know the problem, and then they won't admit to me, of
the
course,
problem.
like, they have a problem. So,
So the hydration 70%. Is that what you're saying? So your
Yeah,
hydration.
so of course,
is
like,
this a wetter dough ball? Is that why they're saying you can't? It's not balling.
exactly.
Yeah.
But before they sell to me, they say, yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah, it's
can.
fine. Yeah,
but
yeah.
then once we bought it, it's not.
It's too sticky.
So, and it just tearing my skin. And then if you put the dough ball in, 10% of the dough will be disappeared inside the machine.
Yeah.
And it's apparently it's a known problem. But I thought that they are a reliable brand, so
Yeah.
I bought them, and so.
Were you able to return those products?
No, they won't let me.
Oh man.
So anyway, but now more importantly, I just give up on machine now. I just basically hire more people. They just manually balling all the dough.
Yeah.
It is just the old school way. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, well, those machines are very popular, but I know firsthand that if you try to put a very high hydrated dough, I think really anything over 68% is going to get lost or just kind of destroyed in those machines.
Yeah, I think some machine maybe can tolerate.
How big are the dough balls? How many grams or ounces?
260.
Okay, smaller little dough balls. Well, and do you bulk ferment or do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're a little. So when you do,
Airy, yeah.
and when you do roll them out,
Yeah.
What temperature are they at? Do you know? Like around?
So they just come straight out from the refrigerator. It's
Oh, okay.
cold. It's cold.
It's cold.
But for the machine, I have tried the room temperature, I've
tried
tried
it
the
all.
different temperature, tried all, and none of them work. Because they told me that, you should do this, you should do that. And I was like, I did that. But no, nothing works.
So it's just got to be the human touch.
Yep.
Do you find it as crazy as I do that we put the best ingredients in our pizza, our dough, our cheese, toppings, fresh produce, and then we put pencil shavings on our tables called red chili flakes? What is a red chili flake? We found out about Flatiron premium pepper flakes from a customer who actually brought us some. We were putting it on every slice we ate. It was gold. We were like searching for it like addicts in the back, just like, ooh, where's the Flatiron? Where's the Flatiron? There is no going back. When you pop these peppers, you are gonna know. You can smell it, you can feel it, you can taste it. The 4-pepper blend, which is actually the blend we have on every table at Hot Tongue, definitely has a higher heat level, and I'm a heat guy, if you know what I'm saying. It has the arbol, the jalapeno, the ghost, and the habanero. It's spicy. They are liberating pizzerias from low quality pepper flakes. Flatiron pepper, you are going to know the difference. In here, real peppers from Italy. Let's go. Head to flatironpepper.com right now. Use the code PIE2PIE at checkout. That's PIE, number 2, PIE at checkout. And any order over $25 is going to get you a bottle free of the sweet heat. Put that sweet heat in your cart, and any order over $25, that baby's gonna be free. Do not miss this chance to upgrade your pepper game. Head to flatironpepper.com right now and join the Pepper Flake revolution. As far as efficiency as well, like you don't do table service. I'm seeing like the QR code. So if I came in here today, would somebody be like, sit down at any table and order from the QR, or do you do counter service up there too?
Yes or no? So again, because I have no restaurant experience, I'm a little naive in a way that I thought that I can create something different and something new. We have to do QR code. It's not a full sit-down service, which make a lot of people not happy about, because the setting when you walk in, it set your mentality, it set your mood, and it make you feel like this is a fine dining restaurant. Then it has to have a full, sit-down service. If you have to even take counter order one at a time to take all the tables, it will take at least 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Per order, right?
Yeah.
To take the tickets, Sometimes it's longer because you have conversation, you have questions, So now, if we do QR code, once the customer help out, really help out, that they place their own order, 40 tickets can print at the same time in the kitchen. and the kitchen can crank out all 40 pizza pretty much in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, like we know normally 40 is normally I think more like 30.
Well, I like that you have these on the tables. It says order at the table using the QR code or bring this card to order at the counter. So you do offer...
Absolutely.
Because there are some people that are stubborn. They don't want to.
They are not tech savvy.
Yeah, not tech savvy. Yeah, like they don't understand how to use a QR code or whatever. It's a nice thing. Somebody will stop what they're doing, take the order at the counter.
Absolutely, we will have people, taking the order at the counter, helping customer out.
Having like this model with the QR code, isn't it? I mean, the pies are pretty simple, like you said. Like you're getting all my favorite menu, and I think that the greatest thing to do is concentrate on your dough, dough process, and then have beautiful ingredients that don't overload and that you can taste everything. But that must help having a simpler menu, so there isn't a ton of questions. Because then what happens if somebody's trying to use the QR code, but then they have 300 questions?
Absolutely. So our pizza is really on the simpler side.
Yeah.
We want the ingredients and food to shine because when I grow up, we don't have a lot of money. And the way my mom cook food is always just stir fry some food or steam some food, or like there's not a lot of sauce. I don't eat a lot of sauce, and then there's not a lot of processing. We don't use processed food. In Hong Kong, you go to the market every day, you buy fresh food, you cook at home every day. There's no frozen food. We don't use canned food, So that's how when I run, the Turning Peel, I eat the food what I serve my customer, and all the food that, if you can't see in whole, we don't use it. The only thing that is in can that we use because of the import tomatoes that we have to use, can, from Italy. So that's the only reason why we use canned tomatoes. But other than that, everything is fresh.
And then do you have beer and wine here?
Yes.
Yeah,
so
okay.
we have, my husband is the one that in charge of beer and wine, we have local beer, of course, because it's Portland.
Yes, beer town.
And then we have very small selection of wine for customer.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. But we are very, very proud also for the efficiency and for the affordability. Our cocktail, we only have 3 cocktail. We do only batch cocktail. We want it to be affordable. So we use very good liquor. We frost all our glass. We don't have a bartender so that we don't garnish your cocktail, but yet it will still come out really beautifully.
Yeah.
We frost all our beer glass too,
Do you have a full liquor license here?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I
would this is like a patio to enjoy like a bottle of wine and some
Yeah,
pizza.
exactly.
This is like,
Yeah, and we sell you a cocktail for only $10
that's unheard of.
with 10% off if you buy a pizza.
Wow.
So
Ooh, that's a great idea.
And everybody found our cocktail so tasty, even without the garnish. And again, we stick to our business model where we don't sacrifice ingredients, but if you don't have the food waste of the garnish, if you don't have the labor of putting the garnish, it can really save a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win for customer and also for the restaurant.
Yeah.
So we sell a lot of house-made limeade because we juice all our lime. We use 40 pounds of lime juice in-house.
Somebody just squashing that?
Nope, efficiency. We use a machine. So
Oh, nice.
we found this really cool machine that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, but we squeeze all our lime juice in-house. We use it in many places. That's also one way of the efficiency. We try to navigate the manual, how we can overlap things, how we can replace ingredients that that we make everything fresh and tasty. So we use lime in many places.
Yeah.
And just because it's very easy to prep, once I have lime, I juice all of it and I only use it for 1 week because they only last for 1 week, for the freshness. We use it in drink, we use it in salad, we use it on our pizza.
Does your husband know how to make pizza?
He is a big part of it. He is our quality control.
Oh, what, he does all the eating?
because he is very, very good and critical in taste in food, more than me. But I'm the one that doing all the dough because, I just have a particular criteria on how the dough is supposed to taste and how the dough is supposed to look. And it's just very different from other pizzeria that I normally, go out and that is, that is, and I think that's where the combination is like, when he think of like how the sauce supposed to be, how the cheese supposed to be, the ingredients, and then I want the dough how it's supposed to be. So,
do you have a favorite pizza in Portland outside of your own?
I have so for New York slice. I like Scotty. They double bake their pizza, good quality crust. I think it's very tasty, very juicy in their pizza.
Juicy slice, I love that.
I know. And I like juicy but not floppy. I don't like my pizza if you take it and then it flop.
That's a tough thing with Neapolitan pizza when you're cooking that fast. Usually there's a lot of flop.
Yeah, exactly. But hopefully on the right day, on the right dough, our pizza is crispy, crunchy, but chewy.
Yes,
because of the sourdough.
All the things.
This is a very, very one thing I found it interesting is that if you use 100% sourdough, your crust is chewy, like literally. It's like you eating a sourdough bread.
Yeah.
That is where it come from the sourdough, but yet, with whole other toppings, so that's how we like our pizza.
What kind of tomatoes are you using?
Our tomato, we first used Samasana tomatoes and now we change it to Acacachina tomatoes. I think it grow in California.
Yeah, so you're using California tomatoes. You're not
yes.
It's not like VPN shit. You're not using chow or whatever.
No.
Altacachina tomatoes are delicious.
Yeah, we used to use Samosana tomatoes, and we found it very tasty. But then we found California tomatoes even better.
Do you make a ranch here?
No, that is
I wonder
one
if you
thing.
could put lime and ranch.
That's one thing.
You don't mess with the ranch?
Okay. This is getting very emotional. I don't eat ranch.
All right, I love it.
And I can't put ranch on my pizza.
Oh, that's okay.
But I get so many requests for ranch, so we sell it.
Nice. Okay, you sell it. There we go. There's the end of the story, folks.
Okay.
Even if you don't like it, you gotta sell it. Give the people what they want. So you don't make it yourself, though?
No. We found a very good, tasty ranch, and
it's Ken's.
Yeah.
Is it Ken's?
No.
Okay.
Also invented one thing, which is, I don't know, maybe we invented the name, let's call it like that, So what happened is that we start at some point seeing a lot of crust coming back.
Yeah, you got to make some dipping crust.
Our crust, is thicker than normal pizza, right? It's because we want to show off the,
That's the good stuff right there. Yeah, the crumb.
The airy ring, and all that. So we decided, okay, let's reduce the waste, So we invented a crust dip. So we sell this crust dip and people start loving it. Like, they will dip, their crust and then finishing, we start reducing significantly, like not much waste, on our, trash. We only have 2 roll cart of trash every week. We're very proud,
That's pretty incredible.
We literally hardly had any food waste. I have to say, yeah. And yes.
So what's the sauce?
Yeah, so we have marinara, so which is our just tomato sauce.
Yeah.
We have ranch. We like it. We have hot honey, and then we have our famous whipped ricotta with honey, which will pair with either garlic or another fruit compo usually, but that is rotating, depends on what we have. We have a queen's tree outside of our house. In every summer, give us more than 50 pounds of queens.
All right.
And we usually make a queen's compo and put it on the dip, and people love it. And it's just one of those things that is just pair really nicely with sourdough.
Do you make your own hot honey?
No, we use mic hot honey.
Okay.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, you're doing a lot.
And my hot honey is very tasty. So
Yeah.
if I found something very tasty, that's what we just meet with our provider, and they have a hard time to produce consistency the cheese to us, and so they want us to house pull the mozzarella, and we're like, no, I can't, because it's a lot of mozzarella to pull.
Yeah,
you know?
no, that's very time consuming, and that's something you can mess up.
Yeah, and I have done making our own mozzarella before, and then if I have to make 150 pounds a week, no I
thanks.
can't do it.
No
So
thanks. Do you use grande?
yeah,
Yeah.
so if they have it.
How long did it take because you said like you basically learned while you have gone. When did you figure out that like maybe I shouldn't be putting 12 bags of flour in my car, like I should call somebody, or like I need to talk to a distributor, or like
When my husband back started hurting.
oh my God, it got to that point.
So, and I was like, okay, to save my marriage, I better reduce his workload and better, get flour delivery.
Yeah.
So, and that is another really big challenge, because they don't, we have to switch our flour because we only have limited choice. So then the whole recipe things change, and
Of course.
the dough changed. So we again, did a lot of experiment, and then, finally we settled.
If your sausage needs aren't hitting all the right notes, then let Maestro lead the way. Maestro has been working closely with pizzerias for decades. They produce sausages designed specifically with pizzerias in mind. And you can tell their Italian sausage crumbles look like they were handmade in your shop, and they will taste that way as well. With over 80 years in business, family owned and operated, the family is incredible, and so is their product. It's quality sausage with quality ingredients. Click the link in the show notes. A classical masterpiece awaits you. Back to the show. And you mentioned like how much you were working at your other job and like traveling and stuff, but obviously running a restaurant is like kind of quite the labor too. Like it's like having another kid or a couple kids, especially when you start hiring a bunch of people and you're taking on a lot of those emotions and figuring that out and managing people and schedules, and so much of you goes into something like this. Do you still feel like you get to spend as much time with your family as you would like to?
Very good question. That's also why I'm also very surprised that you can be here. And as a restaurant owner, you can take time. I need to learn it from you. Yes or no? So at the beginning, when we first opened, I have to leave my kid a lot. And sometimes my kid has to be here in the basement. We call them dungeon baby. And so they have a little couch. They normally can't watch a lot of TV, but this is the only time that they can watch show, whatever amount they want. So they really love to be here.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That is when you know how it works. Employee call out saying you need back up, and then I back up, and then another call out saying my husband also need to back up. So now the dungeon baby has to be in the basement. The dungeon baby used to be here at the beginning, like pretty much like 2-3 times a week, and now we managed down to 0. So which is very good.
And I bet they almost miss it. Like, hey, take me to work. I'll just go.
They miss it. They ask why we are not there anymore. You
Yeah.
know, they did. So, which is a good sign. And also, I only work right now. We call it a live shift, only Thursday night and Friday. So I don't work weekend. So we have employee open for weekend, and we train enough staff that they will cover, those days, unless employee call out sick. But otherwise, I work. Of course, come in here every morning, setting up everything, making sure that, and then we still do all our shopping, We still need to learn better to get more delivery, I still have my produce hand-picked,
Are
not
you going to farmers markets and stuff?
No. Sometimes like some special on the special menu,
yeah.
I do sometimes, but on a regular basis, no. I have this philosophy. We're not one of those places where we are farm to table. Farm to table is very expensive.
Yeah, no, I know.
And if we have to do farm to table, we have to price it differently.
Yeah.
We have our margarita, $13, and which is pretty much the cheapest in town, I believe, maybe even 30% cheaper.
Is that a 10, 12-inch pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on a weekday, we have a margarita special, which is $9
That's for the same pizza.
for the same pizza. We don't scheme on ingredients. It's not like because you come in lunch, we have less cheese. No, it's exactly the same pizza. And for that reason, we are still very carefully to shop and so that we get the quality that we want, but yet we are not spending a lot of money. There are few things that, we just cannot compromise with quality, but then there are things that is just so out of reach that we have to put like a very high price tag, then we will not choose it, So that's kind of,
it's a
where
balance.
we are. Yeah, exactly. So that's where, I want it to be. I want the turning point to be, so that everyone can come to enjoy,
Of course.
pie. So.
And then Mondays you're completely closed.
Yes, Tuesday is closed.
But is anyone here on Monday? Outside of maybe you?
No, only me. So I reserve Monday to do like, all the projects. So right now, right before you come, I was doing plumbing and
Plumbing?
Yeah.
Well, you installing some new piping or?
I am, fixing the spray is broken.
Okay.
So you have to replace a new one. And then I want to put an instant hot water because, our little Japanese, hot water is too small. So every time it's not efficient,
Okay.
to fill hot water. And then, so instant hot water heater is much better. So, yeah. So so Monday is the projects day.
Always improving, yeah.
Yeah, try to improve as much as we can.
And then Tuesday is your prep day?
Tuesday is a prep day, so we have prep staff coming in and do most of the prep.
And then live shift obviously means you're on the floor. So Thursday and Friday you're here, but are you also trying to stay away from the restaurant on Saturday and Sundays, or do you dip in here? Are you good at like stepping away? Are you a little bit of a micromanager, like?
Little bit of both, but I try not to come in Saturday, Sunday, unless they really short in ingredients. Then I have to drop off something. We're learning how to shop enough that we don't have to do that because we try to achieve zero food waste.
Yeah.
We don't even waste salad leaves.
Crazy.
I know, but I like it.
Yeah,
We don't have to waste. Even salad leaf, I'm really proud. So, but then the trade-off is, you will have to shop more often, making sure that, I can't shop the almost expired, spring mix.
Yeah.
I have to wait sometimes 2-3 days to get the fresh batch. So they will last for the whole week, you know. Those kind of things,
Do you have a general manager?
No.
Do you have a management hierarchy?
We have only one back of house lead that he worked really hard and then managing all the dough. And like making sure that all the prep is there, but that's it. That's all we have.
So on Friday and Saturday, is that back of house lead the one that's in charge?
Yes.
When you're not here?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the back of house lead is always in charge. Well, in charge the back of house, we are learning in terms of like how to run the whole restaurant as a whole. So we just recently, don't laugh, implemented lists. We realized lists is very important.
Lists are very important.
I know. So I didn't know that. So now I learned lists is very important. So we start creating lists, for front of house, check off all those lists and making sure that we don't sold out on things. So we prep enough drinks, we prep enough other things as well.
Well, when I walked in, I looked a little into the kitchen. You do have like it looked like a picture of some pizzas, and is that the toppings and how to make them?
Yeah.
Like all that stuff, very important, right? you like that's stuff
Yeah,
you
we
implement.
try.
Yeah.
We try to standardize as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has the pizzeria been open here?
Little over a year.
Okay. I mean, I'd say that you're doing a pretty damn good job if you're not here on Saturday and Sundays after 1 year. That's pretty incredible.
Thank you. I have to say that I make it a priority when I first open Saturday and Sunday. I say that I don't want to be here on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
That is the only reason I can open Saturday, Sunday, because Saturday, Sunday is very important to my kids.
Yeah, of course.
And I would not want to compromise that, and I make it very clear to my employee. Otherwise, I would not open. Maybe we would like open only Saturday and not Sunday,
Yeah.
Actually, we slowly open. We at the beginning only
Yeah,
open evening till Friday, and then we open only Saturday, but not Sunday. But then when they are ready, we open Sunday. So we do it gradually.
It's good. It's like a good slow rollout.
Yeah, very slow.
I feel like that's kind of the right way to go about it, though. A lot of people say like, "Oh, I can't get out of my restaurant. Like, I need to be there." But like, I really feel like having a restaurant, and when you put up a boundary that's like, "I'll open, but I'm not going to be there." Like, you create a boundary, and then you don't cross it. Especially when you have a family, and it's like Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to open, but I'm not going to be there. And doing that right from the get, like, oh. We got a full storm coming in. Probably really helps because a lot of people in this industry don't really have boundaries, or any industry. Like with your tech job, I imagine you were being asked to do so much, and I'm sure that like the pay and the benefits and everything was great, but like, what does that do for your life? Like how much are you giving? How much of yourself are you giving to that job before you lose yourself completely? Absolutely.
Yeah. I used to have to like code day and night, and the more you do, the more you have to do, and the more you're given to do, and I think it's just one of those moments that like I realized, that light bulb moment, in your life, like, oh my God, what is the most important things in your life, and I realized that once I have kids, it's my kids.
Yeah.
Before I have my kids, it's career. I always wanted to be a career woman. I want to have a career, but once I have my kids, I realized that, I don't want to lose all that, because at the end of the day, they are the next generation. They are the one that needed you, the most, So I think that, and I think, I it's not like I don't like my tech job, like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love my tech job. I have like tons of fun traveling around the world and like doing the cutting edge technology. Like, I think that part of my life, I love it. And it also teach me and giving me so much opportunity, without it, I would never be able to even come to the US, like given my background, where I grew up, The reason why I can come to the US is because of my degree, and the reason why I can stay is also for my degree. And the reason why I can open a restaurant also because of my previous job, because we save up enough money, to be able to do it, So I think that I really value every part of my journey, and it just giving me different aspect of things that, I just feeling really grateful that, our community really supporting us, like, our neighborhood and everyone. Like, I promise I have never imagined the Turning Pill will become like this today. Like, I literally thought that I'll open for a year and I'll close it.
That's a terrible way of thinking about it.
I thought that I would try. I always would try, That's just me, And then I was like, what is the worst? The worst is I just close it, And so but then I told my husband, I remember it's very clear. Before we opened, I told him, I was like, I don't have to make the best pizza in Poland, but we have to have the best patio in town.
This is definitely easily one of the best patios, especially when it's gotten a little darker out here and these lights and everything. I mean, it's even really romantic right now with the sound of the rain.
I know.
And you walk in here, it's like a completely different temperature. Like, it's special.
And I have to be like I have to tell you that I'm really, really proud that, I pretty much like I put up this beam all by myself. One person. And we collected like, all the old window from rebuilding center, the 2 old door that is gifted from one of my friend. And then I'm crazy about like ice cream chair, and hurricane lamp is like my fascination. And I just told my husband that, I just have to have everything set up in the Oasis before we open. And he called me crazy, but I think somehow this space created a lot of connection to the community, and they love this space. And the surprising part is the grapes. It's just like it come out so early, in the summer, and so what happened is that it's just so romantic. We have people propose here. We have people celebrate birthdays, celebrate their anniversary. 2 months ago, we had people get married here.
Oh, wow. This would be a beautiful like for a quaint little wedding venue, this is perfect.
And I was so surprised. I was like, are you actually getting married here, not reception or something? And they're like, no, we want to get married here. And so I am very proud, that we have a space for the community, but yet, just bring people together.
I've been using Karen Spring flour for years now. It's been a complete game changer. It comes from an incredible mill in Washington State where they stone mill regeneratively grown grains into some of the most flavorful flour I've ever worked with. They stone mill everything, which means enhanced flavors, preserved nutrients, and embraces a more traditional, sustainable way of doing things. You can feel it the second you open the bag. It's not your average flour. It has color. Do you ever look at a white dough ball? A white dough ball makes no sense. Grain is not white. Open up a bag of Karen Springs and take a look at Mother Earth. Karen Spring operates a social purpose corporation. Legally, they're prioritizing impact over profit. That's pretty powerful. Whether it's your main flour or you want to just blend it, using Karen Springs is going to introduce new flavors you've never tasted before. It helps reshape the food system one bake at a time. We choose Karen Springs because we believe that great ingredients are not just a tagline, it's a commitment. And yes, it does cost more, but like anything worth doing, you get what you pay for. Our dough program is the foundation of what we sell. It's my calling card, and it starts with great grain. Be part of something better. Really use the best ingredients. Karen Springs isn't just flour. It's a belief in the makers, the millers, and the movement. Use code PIE2PIE for 15% off your first order at karenspring.com. I mean, I feel like that's something that you don't really think about when you create a space like this, and like how special it can be to a neighborhood, and then like inviting people in, and like, because not everyone can curate a spot like this or like have an old Craftsman. Like this is definitely like, when you come here, you can feel it. It feels differently. I started the pod out saying it's a very special space, but to open it up and have people want to have those special events, those things that they'll remember for the rest of their life, that must feel incredible. Because like this thing, you essentially built with your own 2 hands, outside of just like feeding somebody, they're putting that food into their body, which is already very special, but creating a vibe and creating something like this. I mean, I'm overwhelmed when people come into my spot. No one's ever got married at Hot Tongue. If you want to, I'm up for it. But I mean, like it's got to feel really great.
Yeah, I am very happy and just overwhelmed too. So this is become very special to the community, and it's very special to me. And whenever like people, they send me message and tell me that thank you so much for creating this space and make it so easy for kids to come in.
That's also important.
And it make me so happy because I'm a parent of 2. I know how hard it is to bring kids to restaurant. My God, I used to have a bag of toys and like coloring sheets and all that to keep them busy, keep them occupied, But here, I just want to have all of them ready, so that.
I saw there's toys up there. Is that for kids here? Yeah, that's awesome.
So the thing is that it doesn't matter what toys is it. Kids just want new toys. As long as it's not home.
Yeah, I know. It's
they
just
would like, oh my God.
It's like, you have that car at home. It's like, yeah, but that car is here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just all, the perspective and things. And it's just tiny little things make it easy for parents to come out, And I think that, parents really enjoyed it. They love it.
you, before we started going on that, like just you talking about your journey and like how you appreciated every part of your life that kind of got you here. And I think that's really important. Sometimes like we forget about like, you can look back and be like, oh, it was this time, but usually that time helped you get to this time, and this time's going to help you to get to that time. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like timing is everything, and you kind of have to go through certain periods of your life to get to the next one. And it's just really crazy kind of what can happen for me personally from hearing multiple stories of pizza shop owners, just what 10 years, what 5 years can do.
Yeah.
Because I used to do music. I never thought I would be,
Oh my God.
I never thought I'd be making a podcast or flying to Portland and talking to somebody like you. You just never know what's going to happen.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? But it is so much about being open to the ride and the changes. And
that's one thing that I think, like I was gifted, like I really love my life. I love, don't call me crazy. Many people call me crazy. I love to grow up poor. I think my life, and the perspective of things, and sometimes you have to get really bored to be creative. Like
the less you have, the more creative you have to get.
like I just feel like, every step of the way and how I even, end up like, I used to do like, drama, in Hong Kong. But we do it in a way that we don't have money, we have to sell like, fish ball and that's another story. Like it's crazy, but like a group of us, like, we have to collect money because we want to do a play and like professional play with all setting and all that,
You built your own set to do your own play?
Oh yeah. We do music. We do like
outside of school?
Oh yeah. It's all completely hobby. I did it for 10 years, but every year we don't have money, right?
Yeah.
So you have this, and then we always want to do like, professional theater, and then, in the cassette, all day you have to have cassette, right?
Yeah.
You have to wind the white part out to have the kill out at the moment, the second.
Yeah.
So you have to have two cassette and then ready to go left and right. So we do all that, we build our own set and do like, shooting stars. And anyway, so every year we want to order all that, even though it's cheap, we handmade a lot of things. We handmade all our costume and thing, but we need to have a starting budget, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have money. So what we do is that we sell in Hong Kong. There's a snack everybody loves. It's fish ball.
Just rice and fish?
No, it's a fake fish. There's no fish in it. It's just flour, and you just buy the fish ball from the market. But then what we did is that we make a super ultra spicy curry, like really spicy, okay? And then it's a typical Hong Kong snack, And then when you eat that, right? It's just so spicy.
Yeah.
Then now you want to drink, so we sell drink on the side.
Smart.
So anyway, so we did that, so that we collect money, for a week if we have enough money, and then we do like, So, but anyway, there's all the small, tiny little things,
Of
and
course.
I just feel like it's really fun. Like, even I think I've even felt like, when I look at my kid today, when they have almost everything, sometimes like, I feel like, I wish that he can have my childhood, It's the things that, when you don't have toys, you have to make your own toys, and those kind of moments like really count. So that's why when I grow up, I always have these things, what can be worse? The worst is you go back to where you are, and where you are is you don't have anything. So you don't lose anything. So when I come to the US, I was really scared because I only have $200 in my pocket. I am so scared. I come by myself. I kind of ran away from home.
You ran away from home? Oh, there's a real story comes out.
My family is very Chinese traditional. Like, I love my mom and dad. They're really like good parents. But just imagine my mom and dad, like they have to put food on the table and they have to work really hard, and there's no bandwidth. They can't read. They did not go to school in their entire life. So just imagine they don't value school because they don't understand. They can't read. And traditional Chinese girls get married and have kids, you know.
Very young?
No, but eventually.
Okay.
So job is not important. Like job is important. You go part-time, you make money, and then you get married.
Okay.
And that's it, you know. That's kind of the mentality, right? You know. So for me, when I grow up, I have 2 sisters, 2 brothers. I'm the youngest. And none of them go to college. So for them, school is useless. You know, it's not important, you know. But they don't understand, you know. And I love school, like, you know.
Yeah.
I just have very good teacher every year. Very good teacher. They will spend time with me. They come to my house 5 a.m, tutor me for free.
Wow. Those are good teachers.
That's why when school today, they don't have homework. Teacher complains about workload while they have 24 students. We used to have 45 students in a class.
45?
Yeah, it's typical.
Yeah.
And our homework, we have to do homework off school from 12:30 to like 6, 7 o'clock, nonstop, to finish all our homework.
Yeah.
And the teacher has to grade all 45 of them.
And
But today, my kid has no homework.
I bet
And
he
just
loves
imagine
that.
how I feel about learning. And
Yeah.
So, but I think that it is so important to have the special relationship with teacher because you admire, you look up to your teacher, and that's how they changed my life. Without them, I would never make it. You
Yeah.
know, I end up being encouraged to advance every year. You know, I barely make it every year. And even in Hong Kong, it's not the same as United States. Only around 12% of the people can go to college. They take the same exam, same age, same year, same day. And if your rank,
is it like an SAT?
very similar,
Yeah.
but SAT is like you can take any time you want, and you know. But here it's like you only get one shot, and
So-
you go to college. Everybody from the secondary school, Form 7 to university, and then they have this very complex ranking system. The school choose you, you choose school.
Yeah.
You only have this one shot, you know.
So
And
did you nail your test?
I barely made it
What's
to a not so good university.
Okay.
But still a university,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, I was always lucky in my life because of the university is so small and it's so not well known.
Yeah.
The teacher is amazing. And he end up teaching me like research and all that. I didn't even know what is research, but I was doing it, you know, and I start publishing paper, conference, you know, I start traveling to Hawaii, you know, presenting my paper when I was undergraduate. I'm meeting professor all over the world, and then they all very encouraging. And so what happened is that when I advanced to a master degree in Hong Kong, which is a research master, not the same here, like they only have 5 spots, you know. And then so what happened is that my parents was very upset. So they don't feel like you should go to school, you already get your undergraduate, you know. But I kind of really enjoying it. So I don't listen to them. So I still continue doing what I was doing. I don't need money from them. And so everyone was telling me, you should do a PhD.
So after your master's, they're like, go get a PhD?
They told me you should leave Hong Kong. So I was like, I can't do it. I don't have money and I don't even know what is it. I don't think that in the whole hour I can do it, you know. But they said, just do it. And they told me, if you want something so badly, you should never give up.
Yeah.
Like people always touch my life and giving me like direction and telling me things that, you know, and just tell me that never give up. I always want to study abroad, but I know my parents doesn't have money. It would never happen.
Yeah.
But once I had a conference in Hawaii, that time you can get free stuff from airline. So I stopped in Portland. I presented my work to every single university. And so every single university tell me that, go to apply, and I was like, I don't have $100, $100 is the application fees. Except Portland State. So the chair told me, you come. And I was like, really? And I was like, but you don't understand, I don't have money, I can't survive, and she said, you just come. So I fly back home, I work part-time, collect my one-way ticket. With $200 in my pocket, I buy my one-way ticket, I ran away. I came to Portland in 2004 in Portland State, do my PhD.
With $200.
Yep. And the school gave me a tutoring job, which she promised me verbally I will survive, And I took her verbal promise.
Yeah.
And she always making sure that I have a tutoring job and that will cover everything else. And I will have like $150 left for food for the whole month. And I'll buy the cheapest loaves of bread, like the American white bread.
Yeah, like Wonder Bread.
And then I'll buy like the cheapest ham.
Little ham sandwich.
And I'll have that every single day for a whole year. So my best meal of the day is every Friday, there's an international group that they will cook like soup and bagel for free for international students.
Yeah.
And that was my best meal of the week. I go there every week. So, that's how I come to the U.S.
I mean,
and
you said lucky a lot, or like I was lucky, but it sounds like a lot of like I think it was like you were encouraged from a very young age, and it's very nice to be around mentors or other adults like pushing you in the right direction. But it sounds like you've pretty much worked your ass off your whole life.
I think that I work really hard, no doubt, because my mom and dad always teach us we have to work really hard.
Yeah.
But I think what it is that I feel like the reason why I say I'm very lucky is that I always felt like there is always opportunity, if I not stop looking for them.
Yeah, but I feel like with a lot of stories like this, or somebody looks at somebody's success, I feel like just listening to your story, opportunity's there, but you've created a lot of that opportunity because you never said no. You didn't quit. You kept going. You even said you weren't like the best student, but you were willing to put in the time. You were willing to put in the work.
Because there's nothing to lose.
And then you had the same attitude, like, what's going to happen? Even you said earlier, like, oh, I'll open this restaurant and the worst thing that's going to happen is I have to close it. Like people live their life in such fear of shit that will never, ever happen. But it's like they're so just condemned by this idea of what might happen. They don't even try. Since 2021, I've had the privilege of consulting on projects across the country, helping operators fine-tune their dough, systems, and everything in between. I take it seriously because I know what it's like to build something from scratch. It can be terrible and lonely. Plenty of folks reach out just to talk shop, and I'm always down to share what I know. But if you're ready to take things to the next level, the next step of improving or launching your business, I offer a full menu of consulting services from dough doctoring to dialing in your systems, policies, and workflow. So head over to alexkoons.com to get in touch. Let's build something together. Better pizza for everyone.
That is one thing that I'm really, really struggle with the new generation. Like if I have one thing that I really want to like change is that like I feel like when I grow up, there is always hope. And then there is always like, if you work hard, you never give up, your dream will come true one day.
Yeah.
Like everybody believe in that.
Yeah.
And all my friends, they all work really hard. I'm not the like extraordinary, like, hardworking person in Hong Kong. Like all my friends, they are all equivalent at working hard. Like even my sister, my siblings, they all like hardworking people. Like I feel like in the new generation, like there's a lot of like TikTok or Instagram, like video telling people that, you should stop working. Why work so hard? If you work so hard, you earn so little minimum wage, it's not worth it. You should just work enough and then, just enjoy life. I feel so heartbroken every time when I hear that, because if you truly believe and it make you happy that you work minimum and you live your life and you found it very happy, I respect that.
Yeah.
But if there's tiny little bit in your heart, you have a dream.
Yeah.
If there's any calling that you feel like, I want to open up my own bakery, I want to have my own pizzeria one day.
Yeah.
Like if there's only just tiny little bit of want.
Yeah.
Like I feel like United States still a land of promise. Like I know everybody think that is all gone now, but I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can be mowing the lawn, you can babysit, you can dog sit, you can still save a lot of money. And to start what? You can start a farmer's market, $30 a day. It takes hard work. I tell you that.
Well,
There's one thing you cannot not give is hard work. If you want your dream to come true, you have to work your ass off.
Yeah.
Like, I work my ass every single day, until today, I'm still working really hard every day. But if you want your dream to come true, and if you want to feel the happiness, the satisfaction, that will give you, you have to not stop looking for it. You should not stop. Like every dollar that you can save, it's okay to have a roommate sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't have to have your whole apartment by yourself when you're young. It's okay to save money for your dream later. It's okay to not have a dog right now, because it costs a lot. It's okay maybe to work 5 days a week instead of 3 days a week.
Yeah, it's pretty normal.
Like I think that it is okay, until the day that it comes that you can grab onto, your dream, and it will come true one day.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like that dream, that hope is lost. Like it lost in a lot of people. Like I really feel there's a lot more influencer can say differently, and I think it can change the world. I think the United States is the United States that I come, the opportunity that I come, the reason why I feel belongs here.
Yeah.
It's still here. I still think that, if you work hard, you can still do whatever you like, be whoever you are. In Hong Kong, you cannot. In Hong Kong, if you want to open a pizzeria, first you need to find a tiny little space, which is the rent, in a bad location. 10 feet by 5 feet space will cost at least $50,000 a month.
50 grand.
You have to sell how many pizza to make it up to that,
A lot.
And the thing is that no one can have that kind of cash and can start that kind of business. No way. In Hong Kong, if you want to do something, it's really hard because it's very expensive and there's no space. There's a lot of people, unless your parents has a little money and help you out. Your
parents going to need a lot of money for $50,000 for
exactly.
rent.
But in the United States, I feel like you don't need you need something, but everybody can save that much money. Like I guarantee. People at the turning pill, I'm very proud. Everybody make, I think, above, average restaurant industry, way above, restaurant industry.
Yeah.
If they just work 40 hours a week, they can easily save up money in a year to do whatever they want. I feel, farmers market is everywhere in Portland. You just need $100 to buy a tent. That's how I started. I paid $50 on Craigslist on a tent. The most expensive piece of equipment is the oven, which is $1,000, and that's it. And a table, which is $20 on Craigslist.
Yeah, and then it's water and flour, which is fairly cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and everything else is just hard work, and then you can just put up a tent and start selling pizza.
Yeah. Well, I think that the main thing that people have trouble with is the excuses that they make up in their head that they think that they can't do this, or that the American dream is dead, or like, I mean, I don't think social media is, or just be a content creator. That's all you have to do now. You know, like it's a weird world, but I mean, I talk to enough entrepreneurs that like obviously the dream is still very much alive. I mean, the story of somebody that was baking during COVID, or somebody that started out in their backyard and then now has multiple brick and mortars, like that's a popular story. These things happen, but they happen with hard work. Everything that we've just talked about, like the last 20 minutes, all you have to do is put in the time. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be. I have a 4-year-old, you know, and I don't know what that looks like for him. I was raised very different than he was raised, you know, and I think even the struggles that I've gone through as a business owner, those struggles have made me a great business owner. Those struggles have created an opportunity for me to dial in my operations so that I can have a podcast, so that I can leave for a week and feel comfortable that the restaurants are going to be fine. You know,
You must be doing amazing, doing everything right.
I don't know about everything right, but I have the right people, and I think that they're
the hardest part.
They're well compensated, and they're well valued, and they're a part of something that's going to be bigger than just one restaurant. And there's there's a lot of policy and lists.
If there's
And trust.
one advice that you will give me, what will you say is the most important to retain your employee?
To retain an employee is just, I think compensation is the most important. People talk about like profit sharing and all those things. I think that if you're going to put somebody to a position of leadership, they should be well compensated. So much compensated that they are there when you're not there. And you want them invested without being completely invested in the company. I think giving somebody like profit sharing is a little messy because you never know how the year is going to go.
Right.
But I mean, I have overpaid in the last 3 years to be able to do the things that I've had to do while Hot Tongue's been open. And I have sacrificed not being paid or getting paid dog shit for the last 3 years. But I'm finally at a place where I can be making money and doing this at the same time. But it's investing in them, making sure that they're covered, that they can build, they can have a life, that you're paying more than anyone else. Because that's the world that we live in. It's a capitalistic world. The only way to show true value, I can buy them gift cards. I can give them a big Christmas party. I can say, I appreciate you so much every day. But if you can't give them a better life, or like, so they can pay rent in Los Angeles and be able to like do whatever they want, then really you're not giving them anything. You're just giving them the next stepping stone until they find a better job.
Right.
So, I mean, it's that balance, but it's really just paying more than you can to make sure that people really value being there, want to be there, and like they feel like you value them. I know it should be more than money, but unfortunately, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think like for me is that I'm still looking for the balance. You know, I think Turning Pill pay really well. I'm still trying to learn what else we can do, you know, beyond pay. I think across industry, I think we do pay like, you know, above industry level standard in Poland area. But I think there's more than that. Like, you know, I unless I have to staff in a way that, like, I know restaurant, they try to staff a lot of people so that there's redundancy, there's backup, you know. And the way how I structure is right now still is that, well, I'm still learning a little bit balance, you know. We staff very minimally. Everybody work really hard.
Yep.
But they make a lot of money.
Yep.
You know, but then at the same time, like, because everybody still, like, you know, or not everybody, I guess only some, like, you know, some employees, they're great, you know, they work really hard, you know, they're really reliable, but still there are some employees, they just, once they make enough, then they just don't want to work, you know, then I has to, like, you know, either look for replacement or, you know, has like sub-temp, you know, because now, you know, they didn't show up to work, you know, and or they want to reduce work because they're making more money now. They rather work less,
Yeah, so I guess too, like the balance of that when something like that happens, and again, I think stuff like that will kind of happen. But we're at our slimmest we've ever had. We went from 12 employees, I think, back to like 9, and it's if somebody goes out of town, it does get a little dicey. But everyone is locked in. Everyone knows what they're doing. A standard cook makes set amount of dollars, and then I guess like I've talked about this before, but we would have a weak link, maybe somebody that was kept around because they had like a great heart. They were a good person and they tried their best, but maybe they weren't really firing on the level that they should have been. But every time that somebody else would be like, well, what about this person? What about this person? And it was realizing that either talking to that person, trying to let them know like, hey, it's time to step it up, or simply being like, I think you've outgrown this place. Because the minute like somebody that if you start paying somebody like a great wage and then they stop wanting to work or work less hard, you have to have a sit down, an honest conversation. Like, this is what is happening. This is what it seems like. After you've already had 1 or 2 conversations, then that person needs to leave, or your whole program can kind of, it affects everyone when you have like that kind of energy in the kitchen.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm still like learning. It's very hard for me to fire somebody.
Is it?
I'm still not used to do that. Like I always, I think because when I see improvement in a person, like I feel like they're trying.
Yeah.
And I think also the turning pill is not a space that has a lot of rooms. And I think if we are like a coffee shop or like a more mellow pizzeria, it will still be a little bit better, but because of how our business model work, or how we set up the business, basically, like we open at 5 o'clock, before we open, we will have a line outside already, 10 minutes, the whole restaurant is packed.
I love it.
So basically everybody has to move, like there's no rooms to like breathe, basically. You have to keep moving. And then we close at 8:30. We only open for 3.5 hours.
That's incredible.
Until
I love that model. I love that model. I want that model.
Until then, you don't stop. You can't even pee sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, I've worked a couple shifts like that.
So there's good and then there's bad, and in some way, but I think that also make it harder to find people, because some people may not want to work this hard, because, I just, even though every time I interview people, I always tell people, I always scare everyone.
Good.
I even starch them on a Friday.
Smart.
To scare everyone, and I tell them that, it's really busy, but then everybody always say, I love work in a fast-paced restaurant. I work in a fast-paced restaurant. And then after starch, they're like, this is not for me. It's not that fast.
Yeah, never mind.
So, like, that's kind of like the conversation, and I'm still learning how to hire and how to, like, should I change our model? Like, I always like go back and forth, like start thinking like, well, it'd be so nice if we are fine dine, fine dine, charging more, or even charging regular price as everybody else, and then it will slow the restaurant down, and everybody doesn't have to work this hard, and everything will be, easier, but then
there'll be another problem. There'd be another problem. Yeah.
It will not be like
it's such a great name for how fast everything's going now.
So yeah, that's where when I always go back and forth, am I doing the right things? Am I not doing the right things?
Yeah, well, you'll never know if you're doing. You got to do the right thing for you.
Yeah.
That'll be a process you figure out forever. It'll only get better, hopefully. Yeah,
hopefully. Yeah, we are constantly, improving and changing and see what it fits, you know.
I feel like that's like another thing that's important, like talking about like engineering, like better processes and policies, like being able to buy a piece of equipment that makes somebody's job easier. Like that's kind of what I focus on. Is there a piece of technology or can I do something with the POS? Can we move some things around? How can, when I'm not here, make everyone's job easier? What can I take off the menu that's like totally prep heavy? Can everyone come in an hour later if we get rid of this process?
Absolutely. Yeah. So everything, that's one thing that, you know, my husband and I spend a lot of time. Whenever we put something on the menu, we think about how to execute, how to process, and that's for that reason we only have one dessert on the menu so far. We still don't. I try so hard to have second dessert, but it's so hard. You know, it just we couldn't make it.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad that yesterday Mother's Day we sold out our tiramisu.
Oh, you're the one dessert. Of course you did. Was it super busy yesterday?
Well, we sold on Friday already. Like you know, we only make like 2 batch, a week, and it's not enough. So we have a busy week last week for some reason. And so, and I constantly keep thinking like what else we can do or like, you know, what we can add, you know. So for example, like in our salad station, all the salad is pre-portioned.
Yeah.
So, and then when it execute, when it on the line, when it open, it's a pop, toss, you know. But salad has to be tossed. No one put up a salad, not toss or sauce on the side. You know, that's a no-no. You know, it's...
Better be tossed.
Yes, has to be tossed. I don't like to go to a restaurant, order a salad, and then they give me a salad on the side. What am I going to do with it? Has to like...
Toss that stuff yourself on the plate. That's what we do. Toss it yourself.
So that's one thing that, you know, I, again, refuse to do. I cannot like, you know, the labor cannot skim on that, you know. They have to toss the salad, you know. But then, you know, everything is just pop, layer. Everything is portion, you know. So that's the efficiency, you know. That's where when we put out, you know, every dish, you know, on the menu, we think it through exactly how everything, you know, execute and run on the line. And it has to be fast, you know. So we have 5 minutes drinks, you know, out. You know, 10 minutes appetizer, 30 minutes pizza. Yeah.
And that makes everyone's job easier.
Yeah. And also make customer happy because even on a Friday, Saturday night, you don't have to wait 1 hour for food.
Yeah, it's coming out 30 minutes.
Yeah. And then it's good for the business as well. When people had their food early, then they leave and then you have turn around the table.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a win-win situation.
Do you have, like, where would you like to see the Turning Peel in 3 years? What's one thing?
I don't know 3 years. That's very far for me.
Let's do 1 year.
So I would say
90 days.
I would say in 30 days.
30 days.
30 days, I want to be not on any live shift, even though I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss so bad on stretching pizza, you know. But I want to be refocusing on recipe. Yeah. I have so many things, fun things I want to do. Like crazy idea is going to come. Like, you know, it's going to blow.
It's going to blow some minds.
Like it's going to crazy. Like, you know, it's coming. It's going to
Was it a Turning Peel 2.0?
It's going to be wild.
Wow. Okay. Holy dude.
Well, it's not LA wild. Okay, I'm just talking about this tiny little
this sounds
portion
sick.
region. Okay,
this sounds
like
sick.
Just very little. At my own little world, like, you know.
I think it's going to be big.
Know, not LA kind of, you know. So.
LA is overrated.
So that's my 30 days, you know.
I love that. Okay, well then, what if you could give yourself advice today from a year ago? What would you tell that person a year ago?
Do not open the Turning Peel.
Oh no! Oh no!
I don't know. Like I think again, like, you know, I value my journey. I value every step of my way, even mistake I made.
Yeah.
I feel like every mistake you make, you learn something new, and it creates the next step. If you don't make that mistake, maybe you'll never have your next step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that I don't think there will be a moment in my life I say, hey, I wish I don't do that, or I shouldn't have done that, you know? Like, I think, like, even the moment that I'm so stupid, I don't know how to play with stock and I lost ton of money, you know, I still feel like that mistake is needed for me to learn something, you know? Like, I think, so I think doesn't mean that I don't make mistake. I make tons of them.
Yeah, that's how we learn.
But I feel like I love all my mistakes in a way. It's just like I was playing this game with my kids, you know, and then there is this moment that, you know, that's this question asked, do you afraid of failure more, or do you afraid of success more? So, and then one of my kids say, I'm afraid of failure. And he's 6 years old. And I asked him why. You know, I told them that, you know, when you fail, the only thing that could happen is that everybody will encourage you. And everybody will just say that, you know, hey, you know, especially when you're students, you know, you are entitled to fail and learn. And then you learn something. And then, you know, since you're in the bottom, what will happen next? You can only go up because you're in the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So I said, you know, if I have to pick the question, is that I will be afraid of success.
Yeah.
Because what happened is that you can only go down from there.
Yeah, you have something to lose now.
You cannot, you know, I mean, and I think in some way is that there is a fear of me thinking that, you know, what will happen, you know, in Portland, there's so many new pizzerias coming up right now. Like, there's even on division right now, there is 3 more Italian restaurants is opening up. 2 of them are pizzerias.
That's crazy. Everyone's opening up pizzerias, huh?
And next year, at least I know of 5 more Neapolitan pizza opening up, you know. And so, but then another part of me is that, well, you know, what is the worst? The worst is that we have to close the turning peel, and then we will start another journey, something else, and something amazing is going to happen, you know? So, yeah, so I think, but I still think that I believe the turning peel has been a lot of people like favorite, and I just love, I still getting message from people that, you know, I just can't eat pizza. I can't eat food outside, but I can come here and eat your pizza, you know. And people, they are grateful that we are in the neighborhood. People, they enjoy every moment, you know, they have in the turning peel. So I feel like, you know, we did something at least, you know. And part of me also feel like I'm training my staff, and they are all so amazing in some way. And I always see the good part of them and how they can advise. And that is the reason that, you know, I hold on to, because everybody come in a package. They have something bad, they have something good, you know. And then I see everyone at the turning peel, they advise because of what they have, you know, and then what they become right now in just few months, you know. And that make me happy. Like that, I feel like the turning peel has done something. And I forgot to tell another story. Do we have time?
Yeah.
So back to my parents. So you know how I talk about I run away and you know. And so I'm a girl. Chinese family, the most important is boys. Older son is the most important, you know, family member.
Okay.
You know, everything they say, it goes. If you're women, not so much. You don't know so much. Your word doesn't weigh so much, you know. You're the youngest, definitely not, you know. So I've done like 10 years of play. My parents never once come.
They never came to one of them.
No. That being said, they're really busy making money and try to put food on the table,
Yeah.
you know, understandable, you know, and doing play is not something that is achieve something, you know.
Yeah.
And I think back of my mind, I always try to seek for approval. As a kid, you want your parents to approve what you do. And in Chinese culture, it's not very common for parents or family member tell you I love you. And we don't hug each other.
Not a lot of emotion.
Doesn't mean that we don't love each other, but it's just
in
the
a different
culture,
way?
you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you say it or when you hug, you can feel it, you know. And because of that, like, I think in the back of my mind, I always wanted something. I want approval. And then when I got my PhD, I thought that must be the greatest achievement that I can have. Nope. I graduated and don't feel anything, you know. Come to the US, of course, I ran away. And so not a lot of like thinking that I have done something that is good, you know. And I'm always the irresponsible kid in the family. I'm always the laziest kid in the family. Compared to my brother, sister, I am the laziest, you know. And so...
That's crazy.
I know, that's what my husband say, but that's true. And so... not a lot of things that happen that, you know, but when the turning peel opened, everything changed. My parents finally, my dad is almost 90 years old, you know. I was so grateful that my parents finally last year managed to come to the US, like, thank God. Like, we planned the trip before pandemic, but pandemic hit, we have to cancel all the tickets, you know. But last year they came. They saw the turning peel. And they loved it. They finally told me that, you know, you are so successful. You are like... And I think it's something about food. You connect with people, including your parents.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, probably they don't understand what is wireless communication. They don't even know how to read.
Yeah, I know everyone can understand pizza, wireless communication. I don't really even understand how my cell phone works.
And all of a sudden, my dad called me every week.
Wanting to talk about the
and
restaurant?
the turning peel and giving me advice.
Oh.
I have never received advice in my entire life. My parents had not once tell me, you should do this, or like, of course they fired me, do things wrong, and if I like make mistake or something, but not once like, you know. But all of a sudden, this advice come every week. Like, you should do this, you should do that, you should always do this. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what are they. They are like love message, love letter to me. Like, I was like soaking in this like that wonderland. Like, I just feel so much love from my parents. They feel I'm so successful. They finally tell me that, you know, you should not work so hard.
Oh my God. Only took a couple of years.
And they just like, you know, my dad's just still calling me every week, like, and still until today, you know, my dad's still calling me every week and telling me about like, you should, you know, be nice to your staff, you know, pay them a lot of money, you know, retain them, you know, making sure that, you know, you don't burn yourself out.
These are all great ideas.
Like,
He's a restaurateur himself.
And then when I close Monday, Tuesday, like, you should not close
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday. Why you close Monday, Tuesday? You should never do that, you know. Losing money is okay, you know.
Yeah.
You should loyal to your customer, be available to your customer, you know, like all of a sudden is something that they understand, something that they can relate to, something that they can give advice to, you know.
Yeah.
And even like understand what you're doing. And I think that, you know, I have no regret, even if I have to close the turning peel. Like, you know, I already have everything I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, it's just even my mom, like my mom doesn't like to tell me I'm proud of you. Doesn't like to tell me that you're doing amazing, you know. So she will But she told me that she tell the neighbors that I'm amazing.
Of course, they'll tell all their friends, but you'll never hear it. I think that's all very typical of a lot of parents.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, like, I have never feel like, I'm feeling like I'm a queen in the house right now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they suddenly like ask me sometimes like for advice. And I was like, huh? Like, I'm not even like, I was like, can you repeat that? Like, I'm not even registered, because I'm the youngest, I'm the woman, like, and no one ever asked me for advice. They don't even tell me anything, you know? And all of a sudden I just like have a different status, in my family right now, like, and just all because of the turning pill. So it's something that very special to me. And yeah.
Well, I think that, 15 restaurants could open up down the block, but because of you, because of this space, because of everything that you do and you're putting in, I don't think there's anything to worry about. This, I imagine, could be a restaurant that's here for the next 30 years if you if you want it to be.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Does that sound terrifying? Probably, but
oh my God.
I think I
need to pay my employee really well.
You will.
They can run it for me.
This is, I'll start it off like the way, or end it the way that we started this off. This is a very special place. You're obviously a very special person to this community. Your story is very inspiring. And I think that this place will be around as long as you want it to be.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you for making the time, for sharing your story. And I'm excited to come back and eat some pizza.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much.